After the weekend, the family and I had gotten quite a bit of work done up here in the barn. We got all the insulation in the lower walls, we got all the bang walls up, and a lot of materials used. So today, after tending to the farm, I'm going to tidy up for a few minutes and then get set up to start putting some more insulation in the ceiling. Having only half of the ceiling insulation installed, but also having the wood stove in place, sure has made a difference in the comfort level of working up here in the shop this time of year. So I thought I would continue with the ceiling insulation and try to get more of it covered and make everything just that much better. Ola has to work a night shift tonight, and so she has about 45 minutes or so before going to work that she came up to hang out with me and talk about the plan and the progress of things. Although my intention was to try to make my way across the center portion of this ceiling while it's clear and open and get as much of this insulation installed as I possibly could today, very quickly it became evident that the planning and discussion was much more of a priority between the two of us than getting more insulation up. So with only 4 more bats installed, I stop installing insulation and we start discussing the plan of the last little bit of build out that's going to happen in this barn and shop space. Then,
how wide are you going to want to make the stairs?
4 feet.
4 feet?
I want them 4 feet wide, big
Yeah.
wide stairs. Because we're going to be using that for food storage and stuff and all that kind of thing, I don't want to be trying to pack jars up a stair that's narrow and all that. I want plenty of room, easy to move stuff up. And the handrail here, I'm going to make it removable just in case. Like if there's something big we need to take up there, we could even, if it's, whatever. I just want to be able to access it easy, no matter what it is I'm trying to do.
Okay.
So this gives us 4 feet from the end here. The doors are 3 foot, so it's a good, so that wall will be there and we'll only come out 4 feet just to here. That'll give us for the floor, for the landing to come across here. I think I want the landing 6 feet long. We'll be out to there. So we'll have like 2 feet and then it'll start coming down for the stairs under this little room. Okay.
Okay.
So on this wall, we'll have the door comes in right here. If that is an outswing door, the air compressor can sit here in the corner. And then on the face of this wall, we can have the outlets and the welding table and the welding outlets, stuff like that. And we'll skin this with steel.
Yeah.
Not roofing, but like flat steel.
So what you're saying is between the door and the stairway, that's my part of the shop.
No.
It's my creative corner.
This is the creative corner. The whole building is the creative corner.
It's all for you. But I was trying to claim that corner of the building.
Okay, I guess you can stake your flag on the wall and.
I was just thinking right here, I could build things. I could
Right
put my
in the middle of the
books.
stair now.
Well, now it's in the middle, but now okay, so I have this and this.
That's right in the front of the
It
stairs.
doesn't matter.
No, this is where you come in and down.
It doesn't matter now. Like if the door opens,
This is your
to
creative
here, this
corner.
is my creative
Oh, right.
corner. Oh yeah.
Because this is not impeding.
Actually, that would be a great creative corner.
You can have a 4 foot by 4 foot.
Perfect. That's all I need. I just need a little corner in the shop. I just want my own little space there.
I've got everything worked out for the basic framing and everything for this little room and the stairs, the landing. I also went through and counted all my materials and what I continue to need. But I do want to get the stuff so that I can frame in this wall, start framing the stairs, and get everything here moving forward. The outside of this little room under the stairs, I'm going to also use the plywood for the bang wall. Now, one thing we did with the power here, we only ran the stuff that was dedicated in the walls. Dedicated things being like lighting, light switches, mostly that. All of our power outlets and such, I want to run those on the surface of the walls because I don't know exactly where I'm going to want everything. As you use it, you start to see, oh, I need it like this. I kind of picture this space near the stairs being the central point for the welding and metalwork. Whatever the basic project is, it's probably going to happen in this front portion of the building. And the back portion here with the wood stove and the workbench is probably going to be more of vehicle and equipment maintenance. I have my whole list ready for tomorrow so that I can pick up just the bit of materials that we need. So our goal is to try to use up all that materials that we have and the materials I'm going to pick up. Get all of this stuff framed and finish all the framing so that we're ready to go get drywall. I got it all cleared on our place and was able to get in and out of the way and then finish clearing the rest of my place. Anyway, I got up here with the truck. So I'm going to unload all this lumber. Should have everything I need. I'm just going to bring it all in here and stack it somewhere. The last and most important thing to get unloaded, call it a late Christmas, I guess. My dear sweet wife ordered me a tea kettle for the shop. Specifically for the shop, stays here. I have no idea what it looks like, so it's a surprise to me. She said she was just going to get one that she liked for the shop here, and it'll be left up here. Let's see what she got. Four liter, 4.2 quarts. Oh man, look at that. Dang. I think she got me a nicer one than I got for the house. That's like Can't tell if that's double walled. Or just super, super thick. It doesn't say. It's heavy. A wood grain handle. Wood grain looking. Rubber. That's slick. I'm gonna go fill this thing up and put it on the stove. It's official now. We have a tea kettle. All right, well, I've got some good daylight. I'm gonna come up here and get these stairs laid out and get them attached to the landing up there. Once I have the stairs on here where they come down, then I'll frame in the front wall here to come underneath them, and it'll just be a lot easier, save me a lot of hassle in trying to figure everything else out. I can come right to where I need and measure down and know exactly what I need to have. I'm gonna have the air compressor sit right here in this corner, and I've got my outlet box in the wall here that I'll wire into for the compressor so that it's all set. But on this wall under here, I'm gonna put a furnace return air grate through that wall. And the reason I'm going to put a return air is because they're built so that the grate will flip open and you can put a furnace filter in there and close it. Because I gotta have plenty of air volume for the compressor. I want to keep that air as clean as I can. Also, the reason I wanted to have the intake grate over here instead of just like in the door or something like that is I don't want it to be drawing in a bunch of dust and dirt off the floor. I want it high, tucked out of the way. I don't want to vent it from the outside because I don't want to draw in cold air in the winter. I do have an interior door that's going to go on here, but it is a solid core door, so that'll help with the noise dampening. And then I'm just going to put a wiper seal on the bottom of the door. So I'm going to get started on the stairs. We're actually 106 5/8 to the floor over here. I brought out my laser and I measured the floor height at level against the wall from right here at the landing and over here at the toe of the stairs. And there's about 1/4 of an inch fluctuation in the concrete. So I'm going to make up for that and account for it landing over there. I'm going to use a 2x12 as my stair tread to double check my measurements and the math. And my stairs are going to actually need to be 7 1/8 inch rise to land at the right height at the top to match up with the landing. My very top stair tread, I'm just going to carry the landing subflooring right across that top stair tread. So I'm going to use these little stair gauges, is what they're called. These stair gauges just clamp onto your framing square, and then you can bring your square up, put it right at the board edge, and that gives you your consistent rise and run for your stair cut. I'm going to set up the framing square with my stair gauges. It's 7 inches 1/8 by 10 1/2. Once I get it cut, I'll transfer that, I'll scribe it to the other stair runners, and then cut all 3, and then I'll get them mounted in. set up my laser where I want this wall to go, this end wall. And I've measured from the bottom of the stair runner to the ground. And it's 44.5 inches. But then I also took my speed square and just set it up here so the pivot is on the laser and it's flush with the runner. And that tells me exactly where that laser crosses, tells me the angle that I need to cut. That's a 35 degree. So I've cut the studs with a 35 degree angle on top. The other tricky part is, as this top plate of the wall sits here, it's going to be flush like that. So this thickness in a vertical line is different than the 1.5 inch thickness here. So again, with the speed square, I put it onto the 1.5 inch thickness of the stud, rotate it 35 degrees, and then I can look along the measuring edge and see that it measures 1 7/8 inches on that cross section. So I took 1 7/8 inches off of the length here and 1.5 inches off the bottom. So 3 3/8 total length off of those studs from 44.5. Now I'll put that together and it should all come in and set. So I'm gonna frame this up real quick and make sure that I did it right. Just right. You probably notice where I'm bolting these walls to the ground, that I'm drilling them out and putting in a 1/2 inch by 5 inch Hilti wedge bolt into the concrete. And that's probably way overkill for this kind of a wall. I could have done fine with probably a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch Hilti bolt, but I just happen to have a bunch of 1/2 inch wedge bolts left, so that's what I'm using. I'm also not terribly concerned about bolting everything down so it stays in place. It's pretty well going to stay there anyway. But this outside edge, that's the shop edge, I just wanted a little bit more reinforcement just to make sure, in case anything ever gets bumped or anything like that, there's just a little bit more reinforcement. The other side of the wall is just getting nailed down into the girts and into the plywood across the whole wall, and that should be more than enough. Ultimately, when it came to laying out this wall and deciding the lengths of each stud and everything like that, I decided that it was going to be easiest if I set up my laser and aligned it to the stud layout on the bottom plate and then marked that accordingly to the stair runner. And then when I put the top plate in place, I transfer that same vertical line to the top plate, and then my stud layout is transferred to my top plate. Then, with the top plate installed, I went ahead and just measured the distance between the top plate and the bottom plate on the short side of the cut to know exactly what my length of my studs was going to be. I wrote down my measurements on a piece of scrap board as I went along, and then I took that list of measurements back over to the workbenches and cut all of my studs with the 35-degree angle at the top of the stud so that everything would match up. With all of my studs cut, I removed the bottom plate and removed the top plate, laid everything out, and started nailing everything together. And as soon as I got it all framed up, then I just had to get it fitted into place, and then everything was set. Although my days were spent divided between snow removal and working on the barn, I'm getting very excited about the way that things are starting to come together. My light keeps flashing at me because it's dead, wants to quit. All my batteries want to quit, so I guess I'll quit. That was a crazy wall. It took a little bit of thinking outside the box to get figured out. but it fits good. I'll have to build in the door. It's got some craziness to go into that, so I'll just have to build in that last little bit. And we should be good. So we'll do that another day.